Professor Fred Ogolla. I'm the leader of Linda Jamii. I'm also a leader of Hekima Alliance Party. We are condemning the government's decision to import 500,000 metric tons of duty-free rice in Kenya. The recent Gazette Notice number 10533 of July 28, 2025, permitting the importation of 500,000 metric tons of grade 1 milled white rice duty-free until December 31st, 2025, represents a grave threat to the survival of Kenya's domestic rice sector and the broader economy. Kenya, the leading economy in East African region, should be prioritizing investment in agriculture to guarantee food security. Stable food commodities such as maize, rice, sugar, wheat, onions, tomatoes, vegetables ought to be produced locally. A country that cannot feed its own people is doomed. Our neighbor Tanzania has made significant investments in the rice production, achieving 2.4 million metric tons in 2023. Today, Tanzania produces enough rice for domestic consumption and maintains surplus for export. This was accomplished after Tanzania banned rice imports and focused heavily on attracting investment into the sector. With national annual rice consumption approximately 1 million tons and local production covering only 300,000 tons, Kenya urgently needs to support domestic production rather than expose local farmers and value chain businesses to unfair and destructive competition. The government is being deliberate and intentional in sabotaging local rice farmers by allowing cheap, duty-free imports to flood the market every year, instead of investing in and protecting the sector. Kenya's rice producing regions have the capacity to produce over 1.5 million metric tons annually if given forecast investment. By using this Gazette Notice, government officials have created a haven for cronies and unscrupulous businessmen to profit through duty-free imports. This undermines hard-working local farmers and importers to pay taxes of up to 35% on rice. It is worth noting that similar duty-free quota of 500,000 metric tons was in force from May to November 2024. Yet according to USDA data, the imports under the quota were lower than expected, and there was no significant decline in retail prices for the households. This proves that duty-free importation does not reduce prices. It only enriches a few connected individuals. Why this decision is unacceptable? It's unacceptable because local rice farmers in Mwea, Ahero, Bura have ample stocks, with harvesting ongoing until end of December this year. Flooding the market with cheap imports will destroy their livelihoods, force mass job losses, and disrupt national food security. Local traders, millers, input suppliers, logistics workers, and small retailers will suffer unfair competition. Many face imminent closure if these imports continue unchecked, especially given the rising operational costs and punitive taxes. The government has decided to make local production uncompetitive through high taxes so that they can make deals through importation of cheap products. Have they asked those countries why their rice is cheaper than Kenya? It is also unfortunate that national revenue and foreign exchange reserves will be undermined as Kenya loses out on import duties of up to 35% at a time when the government is raiding workers' pay slips and increasing taxes across the board. This policy benefits foreign exporters and politically connected elites, not Kenyan taxpayers or producers. It creates jobs abroad, enriches a few insiders, and destroys Kenyans' livelihoods. Historical data shows that duty-free import regimes do not lower consumer prices, but instead serves as opportunities for corruption, rent-seeking, and elite profiteering. Hundreds of thousands of jobs will be lost across the rice sector. Businesses will collapse, taxes will rise, and life will become even more difficult for ordinary Kenyans. In that regard, we make the following 5 demands. 1. Immediate cancellation of Gazette Notice number 10353 and duty-free rice importation quota. 2. Reinstate the 35% import duty to level the playing field and protect the Kenyan consumers, traders, and workers. 3. Redirect public investment toward strengthening irrigation infrastructure, supporting local millers, cooperatives, and input suppliers, and boosting marketing and value addition under the National Rice Development Strategy. 4. Mobilize all relevant state agencies and departments to attract an integrated investment in the rice sector, not limited to few players or foreign investments. Kenya must open up space for multiple investors instead of seemingly monopolizing the sector in favor of the government of Japan. Kenya must be built by Kenyans according to all Kenyan resources all the time. Number 5, a realistic, transparent, and time-bound strategy must be implemented to reach self-sufficiency in rice production by 2030. As of now, the government's stated plan appears unrealistic and serious, given that local production is still a paltry 300,000 metric tons. This is our plea to the people of Kenya. Inasmuch as the global economy is built on exclusion, inequality, and exploitation, we cannot allow a Kenyan government to exclude and exploit us due to poor foreign and fiscal policy. This is not just a policy issue. It's a matter of national dignity, economic justice, and survival. Smallholder farmers, youth, women traders, and millions of households depend on Kenya's rice value chain. Instead of supporting them, the government is creating jobs abroad while overtaxing and destroying businesses at home. Kenya operates a market economy where prices should be determined by demand and supply. However, by incentivizing foreign imports and sidelining local producers, the government is maintaining and manipulating the market and creating a rigged system that enriches a select few while endangering nations' food sovereignty. Food security is part of national interest that countries like US, Japan, and even China maintains as non-negotiable. As team evolve, we continue to speak for the common Kenyan. We call on the government to act now. Cancel this harmful duty-free quota, prioritize local production, and protect Kenyans' economic future. We urge all stakeholders, faith-based leaders, farmers groups, civil society, media, and ordinary citizens to join us in a nationwide condemnation of policies that jeopardize local livelihoods and weaken Kenyans' long-term food security. Death is not only by the bullet in the so-called one-legger. It's more painful, and widespread death can be achieved by policies that affect food security, healthcare, education, and national security. Kenya must evolve from consumption economy to production economy. The wheels of the economy must move for Kenya to evolve. We can't keep the wheels of our economy in the parking lot, growing imports while reducing exports, and expect a stronger shilling, offer free primary education, free secondary education, free healthcare, and guarantee jobs. Let's evolve Kenyan economy now, not in 2027, but now. Our problems cannot defer to 2027. They must be solved now, because those dying of hunger are dying now. Those who cannot afford healthcare cannot afford it now. Those who cannot afford education cannot afford now. So this must be done now. Thank you. I now invite my colleague here, first of all, the Gen Z. Let him say what he feels after this statement.
My name is Edwin Wafula, and I am a Gen Z in this country. And one, I would like to say that it is so sad that we have a very clueless regime. A regime that first has denied us jobs, and they are more focused on exporting our skills than creating jobs here in Kenya. Number one, I'm a farmer. I'm a maize farmer. But it saddens me that rice farmers who are youth are trying to make their living, but the government is still denying them that opportunity. It is so sad, because when the government imports rice, that means that the young farmer in Mwea who is trying to make a living from rice, it means that he's going to sell that rice cheaper than the price he was going to sell it at first. Why can't the government just invest in youth? Because the same problem has faced us in the maize industry. I am a maize farmer, a young one. I'm just starting. It is my first year. But the government has also imported maize. That means that if I was supposed to sell one bag at 4,000 or 5,000, I'm selling it at 3,000, which is not right. So I want to urge the government, please, if you want to solve the unemployment issue in Kenya, solve the issue here in the country. Do not export your most educated labor. We are the most educated generation in this country. Kindly, Mr. President, solve unemployment in the country, not outside the country. Thank you.
The incoming senator.
Thank you. My name is Pamphilo Mondi, and I want to say this. The government today is insulting Kenyans because importing rice at this particular time, when we have a lot of Kenyans who are jobless, that means they are taking Kenyans for granted. One thing that I want to ask the government today, do you think that our Kenyans cannot work in our farms and produce enough rice? Two, or you want to tell us that our farms cannot produce enough rice? What you are doing today, the government, is just to ensure that you tailor-made poverty in our nation at the expense of few people who are aligned in government that are importing that rice. In that matter, can you tell us who imported that rice? When was it done? And why did the government gazette and barely 3 days the rice arrived at the border of Kenya? That means it's just a plan of few elites. So we Kenyans, we want to say like this. We want to stop this importation on commodities that we can locally produce. That is the only real empowerment that we can do to our people. But if you continue importing, that means you want to ensure that Kenyans continue becoming poor and poorer to be at the mercies of this government. That one should come to a stop. Just the way my leader here has said, we want to ensure that the government revokes that Gazette notice with immediate effect. We cannot continue this way as a nation because Kenyans are hardworking people. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
Asante.
Just one question for me. As you last 2 weeks ago or 1 week, the CS Mutai Kagwe assured farmers that they will buy all rice that are produced locally. So my question to you, do farmers have rice now or you are expecting a bumper harvest? Because as he spoke, that government will make sure that all rice produced locally, it will buy it before they do some importation.
Currently, there is a lot of rice. There's a lot of rice. Even harvesting is ongoing in Mwea. It is not. It doesn't take you more than 2 hours to reach Mwea and see for yourself. We are speaking with information from the farmers. In fact, we are speaking with authority from those farmers. The truth is simply what we are saying. Forget about even rice. It's not just rice. We are talking about a policy that is killing people across the board. Mukureni Dairy is having milk that is rotting in Mukureni Dairy, isn't it? Githunguri Dairy having milk rotting. Red government is importing powder milk, which is even lower quality from China. A government that can import toothpick. Which kind of government is that? Importing toothpick. Is there a Kenyan who cannot produce toothpick? Go to the supermarket, flip it, made in China. That's why we are saying that Kenya should be built by Kenyans using Kenyan resources all the time. Do you know that Kenya has 174 million hectares of land that is idle? Why should we import? Between us and China, who has more fallow land is us. China is giving us rice. Japan is giving us rice for what? Who has a bigger population to labor? Cost of labor is even cheaper here. So what we are saying is that the government is making money through importation to prepare for election because the government sees this as only political problem. They are not seeing the economic problem. I want to tell William Ruto, what is the need of winning an election? All need to be fighting to stay in power for another 5 years. Why should you win an election if you cannot actually sustain a country? So it's an election time. Kenyans, Ruto's budget is a political budget. The foreign policy is again just a political policy. Fiscal policy is only political because Ruto knows nothing apart from politics. Ruto's first job was a politician, and he is now the chief most politician in the country. The longest serving active politician in history of Kenya is William Ruto. So Ruto is like somebody who has a hammer, everything is like a nail. So he sees even this importation from the political lens, not economic lens. And that's why I'm speaking for farmers. For us, we don't want to know who is the president. We just want to have food on the table. We want to have kids in school. We want to have a healthcare we can afford. Then you can go with the president where you want. But don't touch our life. We will not allow you to mess with us for your own interest. Stay in State House, but give us our life. We cannot lose our life because of you. If there's no Kenya for us, there's no Kenya for you also. Thank you.
And one more thing to the political class. Sisi vijana tukikosa chakula, tutakuja kukula kwa manyumba zenu.
Ndio.
Sisi vijana tukikosa chakula, tutakuja kukula kwa manyumba zenu.
As they said, it's between the haves and the haves not.
Exactly.
When the haves not have nothing to eat, they'll eat from the haves. Thank you.